Hello everyone, I'm the EFC, this is Blue Lions TV. Welcome to the match preview of our upcoming game tomorrow at 1:30 PM UK time against Burnley in the Premier League. You guys, it's going to be an interesting game, but you know how I do things. I like to start off by talking about the press conference and things that Sarri has said. I'm going to be giving you guys the predicted lineup as well to face Burnley tomorrow. I'm going to be talking about the weaknesses and strengths of Burnley, and to end the video, I'm going to be talking about what we can do to beat Burnley. But you guys, as you can see beside me, I am sponsored today by OneFootball, so thank you to everyone that supported me by downloading the app last month. You guys, the OneFootball app is perfect as it's a great hub to get all the stats and information you want on Chelsea, individual players, and on opposition teams as well. And to be honest, I do use it quite a lot whenever I do these match previews because, for example, if I want to see the stats on Burnley to help me with the match previews, I can quickly go on OneFootball and everything's there and it's instant, and it saves me time having to go on the internet and look for things. So you guys, I highly recommend it, and this is why I constantly work with them. But anyway, you guys, moving on to the press conference review, and here's what Sarri was talking about. Now, Sarri did state that he is going to make significant changes for the game tomorrow. He's thinking of making between 6 to 7 different changes, but to be honest, it's not really that deep. When guys like, Aspie, Alonso, Luiz and Rudiger weren't playing, it's obvious that they will be moving back into the first team. So really, he's not going to be rotating that much. Sarri spoke about the fact that, and you can tell it's a bit of a pattern right now, that he's not necessarily happy with how the league doesn't really help out teams that do play in Europe. He made the point that we played on Thursday. We only have recovery time of about 65 hours before our next game against Burnley, which is at 1:30. So it's like, really, how are you really helping the team? And Sarri was talking about the fact that in a very low-key manner that, this is why some of the teams in this country can struggle in Europe, because in other European leagues, these teams get a full week off. He said that, of course, Burnley are going to be very hard. He said some very interesting comments about Olivier Giroud, and obviously they are a bit similar to things I have been saying, in the sense that even though he knows that Giroud isn't really a scorer because he never really has been throughout his career, he really does help out his teammates a lot. And as I was telling you guys in yesterday's 5 talking points video, if you haven't watched that, I suggest that you do. I let you guys understand Giroud's low-key influence on the team. And to top it off, when he was asked about Hazard and whether Hazard might play tomorrow, things are still a tiny bit 50-50. Hazard didn't train on Friday, but Sarri's saying that there's a chance that he probably isn't going to be playing against Burnley. So that is a massive loss. Now, moving on to the predicted team lineup. What team is Sarri going to pick for the game tomorrow? Now, you guys can see my lineup on the screen. Now, of course, it's a pretty cynical lineup, and a lot of us were thinking whether Loftus might start this game or get game time against Burnley. When it comes to starting, I'm not quite too sure. I think that it was quite telling that Sarri let Loftus play the full 90 minutes against Bate. I mean, normally he does sub these guys off, so maybe he's saying, you know what, you're not going to play against Burnley, but you're guaranteed to start against Derby in the Carabao Cup. To be honest, that would be a small kick in the teeth, I think, if anything, with that. Fantastic game against Bate. When Kovacic does get replaced, Sarri should be looking at Ruben, and I really think that with the dimensions in this game and what he can offer, he can really cause Burnley a lot of problems, especially when we don't really have that guy that beats a man like Eden Hazard does. Of course, it's going to be the standard back line. I was thinking, could Zappacosta get a chance maybe? But no, I don't see that happening. Of course, the midfield is going to return. Jorginho will come back. Kante is obviously going to play because Sarri has really been letting all of us know, and he's kept stressing it, that obviously he plays a much more balanced style of football, and Kante is key in helping the team defend off the ball because you guys, we're playing about 30 yards higher up the pitch compared to what we were doing last season. Now, when it comes to the front three, me personally, I'm hoping Giroud's going to start because, as I'm saying, you guys, when Giroud plays, the team gets more goals. I mean, is it really a surprise that our midfield players are scoring when he plays? Of course it isn't, but something tells me that Morata will start the game. I mean, he didn't play any part against Bate Borisov, and that's clearly Sarri thinking, you know what, let me rest you for that game against Burnley. But, with Burnley, that's another game where Morata doesn't like to face that type of opposition player. They're going to get very tight and aggressive to him. They're going to foul him quite a lot. And is he going to have that necessary influence over the game? Let's hope he does, but I'm not quite too sure. And I think Giroud can help a lot more, especially with his ability to take defenders out the game, which I constantly keep stressing. And when you're playing against teams that park the bus and park whatever they have, then of course, this guy can make a big difference. Now, I know what some people might be thinking, Nini, if Hazard isn't playing, and with Ruben's great performance against Bate, shouldn't we consider using him as a centre forward or playing on the left to replace Hazard? And you guys, if you watched my video yesterday, because I went through this, make sure you do. But we need to get over this. The guy is a midfield player. And what I keep stressing every single time is all the good stuff Ruben Loftus does is when he's facing the opposition goal. He can't play with his back to goal because he's not a number 10. He's a midfield player. I don't understand why people just can't accept that. Just because he can run with the ball or because he's got skill or technique, it doesn't mean that translates to you being able to play up front or playing on the wings. And it's just like, it's not as if our strikers get 5 or 6 chances a game. Do you really think that Loftus-Cheek is someone that could score 1 shot out of 2 chances? Of course he's not. And it's like, have people forgotten how this guy used to play beforehand under Conte when he was playing as a number 10 up front and out wide on the wings? A lot of people used to constantly critique him, saying that, he was too lazy, he looked lost, etc, etc. So I don't understand why people will think that all of a sudden now, Loftus-Cheek will be much better playing in that position. He's not. I think the only thing tomorrow in regards to how Sarri's going to use the squad, it's going to come down to substitutions. Now that's going to be interesting. There's probably a big possibility that both Ruben and Ross will be on the bench, and who is Sarri going to pick out of the two? Now you guys, moving on to Burnley, and what type of threat can we expect from them? Now, I can't lie to you guys, I don't particularly enjoy Burnley that much. I think they play a style of football that is very old school, and I can't believe that they're still in the league. But it looks like this season now, they're really finally paying the price for not evolving tactically and not really investing in the team, because let's be serious, they've always been a championship team, playing above their means, due to that negative style of football they use. Now, so far, Burnley are 13th in the league. Before that, they were right at the bottom, but of course, recently with Sean Dyche being able to remotivate the squad a bit more, they have been performing a bit more, but Man City come along, they beat them 5-0, and they come crashing back into reality. Now, why were Burnley so demotivated throughout the season? Well, they were very excited for their potential European campaign. Unfortunately, they lost Olympiacos right at the end, meaning that there is no Europe for them. And when you think about it like this, you're a team like Burnley, you know that you're not going to win anything. You know that your targets every year is to make sure you survive and you don't get relegated. What do you really have to play for once you achieve your goals? And it's like, if they had that European adventure there, it's like all the hard work over the years, everything they've been working on and sacrificing over the years has built towards that moment. And you can really understand why demotivation has been such a big thing this season. Burnley like to line up using a 4-4-1-1, which makes a lot of sense for them. Hendrick sometimes will push further forward and become another striker alongside Sam Vokes. Of course, you've got their wingers, in Lennon and Gudmundsson, who like to track back and help out their fullbacks, and of course their midfield players in the middle and guys like Corkford, etc. It's all about keeping their defensive positions, being near their defence as well. And of course, with their defence, they like to keep a very compact back four at times as well. So they're a very hard-working team. And we know how Burnley like to play. In a way, think of a system a bit similar to Jose Mourinho, actually. We know, he likes the wingers to come back to help support their fullbacks defensively. They like to keep 2 banks of 4. And when they drop deeper, and obviously when the wingers are dropping deep alongside the fullbacks, it can become a back 6 at times. And of course, these are very compact and deep defensive style because they don't want to lose their shape, because when teams like Burnley lose their shape and give space to opposition, Burnley are going to get punished quite a lot. And that's exactly what Man City did to them. Burnley won't be pressing us. Instead, they will be reverting back to the halfway line so they can keep their shape and make it very difficult for us to break them down and to play through them. And obviously, by using that deep defensive structure as well, again, they're going to try and stop us from, playing in the holes, playing between the lines, and obviously stopping those passing angles as well. And with both their wingers, of course, coming back as well, they're going to have that compact back four, meaning that they are going to be hard to play through at times. But with teams that rely on their wingers to help out defensively, after a while during a game, their influence defensively does wane. I mean, look at Goodmanson. So far, he has been Burnley's best player. He's got 4 assists in the league, but he's up against Alonso and potentially Willian down that left-hand side. And on top of that as well, he has to provide something in an attacking sense as well. So it's natural that as the game does go on, he is going to become more tired, meaning that we're going to have the license to create more 2v1s down the flanks. Now, of course, Burnley do have a threat, and it's a very basic threat at that, and that's obviously their abilities from set pieces and of course attacking crosses and corners as well. We paid the price last season against Burnley. They scored a lot of goals from headers and from set pieces against us, and let's be honest, we are going to have some issues if we constantly keep giving away free kicks and corners. That's the type of attacks that Burnley will be relying on. We do use a zonal man marking system. I've explained to you guys in the previous 5 talking points video why we use a zonal system. Look at our players. It's not as if we're blessed with tons of players that are 6 foot plus, meaning that if you use these guys in a man marking style, 9 times out of 10, most of these players will get beaten by the opposition player. So in a way, it's about picking the lesser of 2 evils. So this is why we do use that zonal marking system. But if we constantly give away sloppy free kicks, of course, we're going to be causing ourselves unnecessary problems. But anyway, enough about Burnley. Moving on to us. Now, really for us, our main concern for that game tomorrow is going to be getting the first goal. That's our only priority, because the longer the game goes on being 0-0, that's only going to play towards Burnley's strengths, because it's not as if they're a team that have a counter-attacking plan. They're going to be very happy to pick up 1 point, because Burnley are in a relegation fight. Once they get to 40 points, that's their season over. But with how we play now under Sarri compared to someone like Conte, where it was very rigid and it was easier to defend against, Burnley will have much more problems. And it's no surprise that this season, whenever Burnley have played against teams that play football and keep the ball and create those overloads further up the pitch, they have struggled and they have lost pretty convincingly. I think that game against Man City really summed things up. They had no counter-attacking plan, they didn't create any chances whatsoever, and once that second penalty went in by Leroy Sané, their motivation went, and then after that, City had a lot more joy playing in the holes and playing between the lines. And if we are able to get the first goal, that's only going to demoralise Burnley and hopefully boost our chances of getting something favourable from the game. Still, Man City did do things a bit differently. Of course, there are differences between how City and how we play as well. And with Man City, they constantly had 5 players in the box for every single attack. Pep knew that Burnley will be parking the bus. They are going to defend very deep. And to counter that, City just play very aggressively from an offensive standpoint. And by creating those overloads further up, it makes it hard for the Burnley players, because instead of defending in numbers and having support around you, it does mean that you do have to defend on yourself and take individual responsibility. And of course, let's be serious, these guys are really championship players at best. So it's no surprise that they do become a bit more susceptible. Still with us, are we really going to start pushing our guys further forward like that? Potentially, I'm not too sure. And this is why I really keep stressing that Giroud needs to start this game, because when he plays up front, he allows our midfield players to push inside the box. With Morata, because the guy can't keep the ball, and because he gets brushed off easily, and because he gets dispossessed very easily, it makes it very hard for our midfield players to have that license to really roam into the opposition box. And we do have no Eden Hazard as well, so we can't rely on any clutch moments. And I'm hoping that we are going to play with a very, aggressively attacking game against Burnley, because the quicker we get the goals, then we can start relaxing, we can start to dictate the game, play a bit slower, and Sarri can make his subs. Me personally too, I think Ruben can provide something as well. Remember, we're going to be missing out on Hazard and those runs where he does attack the spaces and he does drive with the ball. With Ruben, he can bring those qualities as well, so it'll be nice to see if he does get a part in the game. It'll be interesting to see what Kante does as well, and I think Kante is more likely to score with Giroud playing over Morata. But again, let's say hypothetically, it's the 75th minute, it's 0-0. Is Sarri going to make that brave decision by subbing out someone like Kante for someone like Ross or Ruben potentially? Be interesting to see. Hopefully he does. But again, I'm just talking about hypotheticals in this moment in time. Still, I expect us to win this game because, again, Burnley aren't going to press us, meaning that we'll be able to play out from the back whenever we want. And once it gets to that stage where we do cross our halfway line, it comes down to how we play with the ball. And I'm expecting someone like Hendricks to, be playing close to to Jorginho in midfield, and I expect them to use tactics pretty similar to what Man United use. You know, obviously Mata not being too far from guys like Jorginho, and obviously, you know, some folks replicating that Lukaku role of playing in between guys like Rudiger and Luis to make it difficult for us at times, but they don't really have the qualities, especially in the final third. They can't keep anything there, and I'm expecting a pretty big win tomorrow, so I'm going for a 3-0 win. You guys, that's going to be the end for today's match preview. Please like, comment and subscribe. I'm the NEFC. This is Blue Lines TV. Signing out.